One key to doing well in all the subjects you're studying is to be very precise in your language. And I'd like to give you an example of this for math with a question a student asked me just a few days ago. In that question, they were dealing with the expression 3x squared. And their question was, does the squared apply just to the x or also to the 3? Now, of course, as you know, by the rules of BEDMAS, it only applies to the x, unless the 3 and the x are in brackets. And the thing was, when I explained this to the student, he said, I know that, but what I'm having trouble understanding is when the 3 is with the x. Because in a different situation, when we were collecting like terms, I was taught the 3 is with the x. But now it appears the 3 is not with the x, and how am I supposed to know the difference? What I explained to him and what I want to explain to you is that this is an issue of language. And once you have precision in language, problems like this tend to go away. What I explained to him is, I get what you're saying, and I understand why it's confusing. The issue here is with is not a math term. There is no such thing as with in math. The 3 is not with the x. They're not dating, they don't have a relationship. 3 is a number, x is a variable. They happen to be beside each other on the page. They're not with each other, they're multiplying. You see, as soon as you describe the situation accurately using math terminology, you say, well, 3 is not with the x, 3 is multiplying the x. The 2 is an exponent of the x. Oh, of course, exponents have precedence over multiplication, so obviously the 2 applies to the x, the squaring before the 3. As soon as you use the correct terminology, as soon as you describe things precisely, many of the problems go away. One of the things I want you to be aware of, and something I want you to take away from this, is when you find yourself having problems understanding something, ask yourself whether there's a better way you could describe it or there's more correct terminology you could be using. Because very often we substitute words that are more comfortable to us or have more of kind of an anthropomorphic thing. We talk about protons liking electrons or things like that. If you can describe things more truthfully in terms of what is actually going on, you'll find that the rules under which they operate tend to make more sense. To see an example of precision in language, check out my video on how you distribute things in math.